survive. They gonna judge you.
Yo, man, welcome to Know What You Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, you guys, week 3 was as good as we all anticipated. We had a lot of great games, bro. We had some great upsets. And, man, your boy went to the Kansas City Atlanta Chiefs game last past week. And, bro, it was dope as hell. I'm going to get into it. But, man, first thing we're going to do is go over some of these games that I didn't actually get a chance to truly watch. I mean, I watched a little bit, through like Red Zone, stuff like that. But there were games that took place, and I was just like, it's not worth the time of like digging deep into it. So these first about 5 games that we're going to talk about, I didn't really do a lot of homework on. It's more so what I saw and quick reactions to what I saw. And this week, we really don't have no big news as far as topics go. So we're just going to kick right into the reviews. So, man, the first game we're going to talk about is the New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. Man, we saw the Giants win this game 21-15. It's amazing what happens when you actually have a place kicker. When you have a place kicker that could do what they do and do their thing. Sorry, you guys have an earpiece in. They end up winning this game 21-15. Very first kickoff, the Giants fumbled. Browns get the ball, throws a dime to Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson did. After that, Deshaun Watson was worthless out there. Bro, I want to say that this man took 8 sacks for like 42, 48 yards in this game. Like, bro, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Now, just like I've told you guys 1,000 times, the New York Giants defensive line is an elite group. They are an elite group, so you got to have ways to get the ball out of your quarterback's hand because your offensive line would not stand up to that defensive line the entire game. And with that being the case, man, it was a poor offensive scheme. Their run game is garbage. Therefore, your play-action game is worthless. And they are really, really missing Nick Chubb. Hopefully, when Nick Chubb comes back, he could be a lot of what he once was because his team desperately needs it. But this Cleveland Browns team is not the team that we anticipated going into the year. This team will finish last place probably in this division. I got the Bengals finishing ahead of them. Obviously, the Steelers will, and obviously Baltimore will. This team is the worst team in the division. Why? All because of number 4. He has to wear that crown. He is awful. Awful. Definitely one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. To our quarterback rankings that we did prior to week 1, he definitely is in that bottom tier just like we had him. And now look on the other side of the ball, man. Look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, man, he performed pretty well against this defense, actually. And that's the biggest reason why I'll say the Browns, we need to accept what they are, accept what they're giving us. And that is that their defense is maybe average, and that their offense is garbage. So with that being the case, Daniel Jones went out there and attacked their defense. Malik Neighbors catching 8 balls should not happen in this game. You know that he's the only offensive weapon that they truly have. And then Devin Singletary scoring a touchdown and so on and so forth. Daniel Jones, I want to say, completed like 23 of 28 passes, somewhere along them lines, for about 281 and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, bro, they just beat them. They just beat the Cleveland Browns. The Giants are, I won't say better than what we anticipated. They're going to win games. It's very hard in the NFL to go winless. So, I mean, they're going to get some dubs, and this is the team that they could get a dub against, and that's exactly what they did. So, congratulations to the New York Giants. You still need a quarterback. Your offensive line is still very shaky, but y'all came out there. Y'all did what you're supposed to do against a team that has no idea who they are right now. Moving on now to the Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts. The final score of this game was 16-21 with the Colts taking the dub. The Colts still have the same problems that I've been highlighting for the last couple weeks. The quarterback play. The quarterback play is very, what's the word I want to use? Up and down. Very up and down. Very roller coaster like. And with that being the case, man, this was a game when it shouldn't have been a game. This game should not have been close to 16-21. It shouldn't have been. The Colts should have won this game easily. The Colts defense played very well. I won't go quite as far as saying dominant, but they played very well. The defensive line was attacking the Bears' offensive line and getting after Caleb Williams. And the run game for Chicago was absolutely non-existent. And that's the weakest part of the Colts' defense. So they actually did step up. But that offense, man, Anthony Richardson, you have to be more efficient, bro. You have to. And you can't keep throwing picks. I mean, he went 10 for 20. That's 50% completion percentage. When you're only throwing 20 balls, you better at least complete, I would say, 75% of them balls. At least 75%. Maybe, okay, I could drop it down to 70. But there's no reason why you're completing less than 15 passes when you're only attempting 20. There's no reason for it. And then the saving grace for them right now has been Jonathan Taylor on the ground. Him having 23 carries. I think he had like a $120, $130 something, and 2 touchdowns in this game, I believe. He carried that offense. Against the Bears, you're able to do that because the Bears could not capitalize off of the turnovers and the mistakes that you guys made as a team. But when you go against other teams, nah, bro, that ain't going to fly. When you throw an interception at your own 40-yard line, bro, that's a tutty for another team. It's just not a tutty against Chicago Bears because they can't protect nobody. So that's the issue I have with them. They still lost the time of possession. How do you dominate on the run and still lose time of possession? I tell you how. You throw interceptions. You don't get first downs. You don't have a good completion percentage. That's how you get to that stage. Indianapolis, you got the dub. But, bro, y'all got some work to do. I really think y'all need to go ahead and adopt the offensive scheme. I hate to say this because, honestly, I don't really care for him like that. But adopt the offensive scheme a lot like the Arthur Smith system. Run heavy, power I formation, things like that. Until you work this quarterback into a rhythm and into a progression standpoint in the passing game, that you can actually complete passes and stay on time as an offense, because you will not be winning many games at all if you continue playing this way. Looking at the other side of the ball, man, the Chicago Bears, great job by the defense. Defense, man, for your quarterback to throw 2 interceptions and for you guys to get put in terrible situations and your run game to be non-existent, for you guys to only give up 21 points, that's a big deal for that defense. That's a huge deal. That's a great day. On the flip side, man, the offense is terrible. The offense is the skill positions are what we thought they were. I never really was a fan of the running game. I do not like DeAndre Swift as your leading rusher because he's just not that efficient as a runner. He's a big play runner. He's more of a change of pace guy. He'll be great for that. Just like if Detroit never drafts Jahmyr Gibbs, he could have stayed there in Detroit and been the yin of David Montgomery's yang. That's what it could have been. But him as your lead dog, I don't really like it. I just don't. I think Khalil Herbert will be better as their lead dog than DeAndre Swift. But the biggest issue with this team is the issue that it was last year, and which is why I said that they should not draft Caleb Williams and keep Justin Fields. That offensive line is terrible. It's awful. It's awful. And then, man, even when we looked at some passes that he makes, talking about Caleb Williams, he's acting like this is college, bro. It's not college. This is why I said Jaden Daniels should have went number 1. This is why. He's trying to do collegiate stuff, bro. You're playing against grown men. That's spinning out. That ain't going to work no more. It's not. That trying to throw off balance, running the wrong way with your right arm, bro, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. He needs to learn how to be a professional quarterback. See, what saved Patrick Mahomes possibly was the fact that he had Alex Smith. He had to learn how to be professional. He had to learn how to take the plays they give you. He had to learn that. And there's nobody in the league too much better than Alex Smith at just taking what you give me. That's what Caleb Williams needs. He needs that kind of guy. He needs Andy Dalton there. He needs those kind of quarterbacks there to help him grow. Because right now, it ain't going to look too good for him. And, man, when you got defensive-minded head coach as well, he doesn't know how to put you in position to be successful without a run game. in which your run game is non-existent. So, man, that's all I'm going to talk about with the Bears and the Indianapolis Colts. Moving on now to the Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The final score of this game was 26-7. We saw Bo Nix have a solid day, man. Broncos got the dub. I more so want to focus on the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense played very, very well. Obviously, they shut down Baker Mayfield, who was probably a top 5 quarterback into going into this week. Talking about as far as weeks 1 and 2, going into week 3. He was on fire. And that's an elite wide receiver duo that they had to defend against. Talking about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It just was a good showing. For them, man. PS2, dog, as we all know, Patrick Surtain. The defensive pass rush was solid. But the biggest thing that showcased for the Buccaneers in this game is that they have no running game. I do personally think that Buck Irving is a better running back for them than Rashard White. I've never been the biggest fan of his. I think he's a very inefficient runner. I think he's an okay guy to spell a back, but I do not think he could be your head honcho. I think Buck Irving has a little bit more juice than what White does. So that's where I will go. But until they build up that offensive line where they can have a solidified running game, there's only so much the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could do. So Buccaneers will need to go back into the lab, figure out the run game, figure out this offense that could be more efficient as far as getting first downs and things of that nature. You cannot rely on Baker Mayfield throwing the ball 50 times a game. You know why? Because you shouldn't rely on any quarterback to throw the ball 50 times a game. Moving on now to the next game, man, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. The final score of this game was 30-14, Green Bay. Man, Malik Willis balled out, man. He went crazy out there. Very happy for Malik Willis because I personally like Malik Willis the best out of those quarterbacks in that draft. I did not think Kenny Pickett was that good. And I want to say it was Desmond Reader and guys like that. So with that being the case, man, I really was more so a fan of Malik Willis more than anybody. Now, he was going to need work. But I thought if he went to the right team, the right system, they could work with him and he could maybe grow into a starting quarterback. Never a star, but a starting quarterback. And now look at how fast that can happen. When he was with Tennessee, he was garbage. Why? Because you had Mike Vrabel. You had defensive-minded head coaches who only wanted to focus on running the football. That's it. So now for him, there was no true development with him. All he was learning was turn around and get the ball to number 22 D-Hen. That's all you got to do, which is not a bad strategy, don't get me wrong, but you got to have some type of resemblance of a passing game. Look at him now with the Green Bay Packers. For those of you that do not realize, he was not there for minicamp. He was not there for training camp. He just got there a week before the season started. So therefore, week 2, he was only there for 1 week, and he got a dub. Week 3, he's only there for 2 weeks, and he goes for almost 300 combined yards and 2 touchdowns in a dominating win against his former team, who does have a solid defense. This is a Titans team that held the Chicago Bears to no touchdowns offensively. This is a Tennessee Titan team that held the New York Jets to 24 points. The Packers got 30 with Malik Willis at quarterback. This is a testament to how much coaching matters. Take Caleb Williams, put him in Green Bay, he'll be a whole different guy. And I'm not even the biggest fan of Caleb Williams, but he'll be a completely different quarterback if he was with an offensive-minded coach that knew how to put him in position to make plays and to use his talent and to make minimal mistakes. Make him feel like he doesn't have to make superhero plays. That's the biggest difference. Kudos to Malik Willis. I'm happy for you, bro. Great job. Continue diving into this offense because one day you could be a Sam Darnold, Geno Smith-like thing and mess around and catch fire, and the league can appreciate you for what you are. Moving on now to the next game. The final game that we're going to talk about in the games that I didn't really watch a lot of. The Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks. I didn't really watch much of this game because honestly, you guys, I ain't going to lie to you, I wasn't really interested. I'm not swayed by Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle. I knew that Dolphins offense was not going to be able to perform to his peaks, nowhere close to his peak. I knew the running game was going to be garbage because they were going to be behind. The Dolphins' defense is not as good as we were hoping that it would be. Jalen Ramsey has taken a step back, so I knew that this would be a dominant win by the Seattle Seahawks. Don't pay as much attention to the score, man. When you look at that game, look at the time of the possession, look at the amount of plays, look at the first downs, so on and so forth. The Seahawks was never going to lose this football game. They were never going to lose this football game. So for Geno Smith, man, you're playing solid football. Calm down on the turnovers. You got a little greedy, obviously. You threw 2 interceptions in this game. But, man, Seahawks, I think that Seahawks is a team that we need to really, really start valuing a lot more. I mean, I had them finishing 9-8. But at this point, looking at the way the 49ers look and the way that the Rams are looking with all these injuries and things like that, I'm telling you guys, bro, the Seattle Seahawks could mess around and win this division. I'm letting you guys know that now. These 2 teams better hurry up and turn it around because the more and more steam that the Seattle Seahawks gain, they're not going to slow down. Now, let's go and get into some of the games that I did get to watch. And these first 2, it ain't really a whole lot to talk about because they were such dominant wins, in my opinion. So the first game we're going to talk about are actually the 2 Monday Night Football games. We're going to start off first with the Jags at the Buffalo Bills. The final score of this game was 10-47. We saw Josh Allen put on a show in that first half. Josh Allen was 23 of 30 for 263, 44 on the ground, and 4 tutties. Bro, Josh Allen, if you watch that game, it was immaculate. Like, he was on fire. The Jags, there was nothing you could do about it. And when a player gets in a zone like that, the only thing that you can hope for is that your quarterback could go toe for toe with him. That's the only thing that you can hope for. And obviously, the Jaguars have the most average quarterback in the entire NFL in Trevor Lawrence. It wasn't going to happen. So, man, for Josh Allen, that offense, they look really, really good. The only question I still have for this team is that what do they look like this upcoming week? Because, see, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, like, man, they look better than what they looked previously. What you guys got to realize is that, better than what they look better. They look better than what we thought they will look going into the season. What you guys have to realize is that, one, I never questioned the offense. It's Josh Allen. He's going to lead a solid offense. They will be a top 10, top 5 offense, period. When you got a quarterback like that, you're just going to be. What I questioned was the defense. That's the biggest thing I questioned. And that defense, my issue is that they haven't played against a good offense yet, in my personal opinion. They played against one that's turned out to be a okay offense, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. And in that game, they gave up 28 points, and Josh Allen had to put on his Superman cape to win that game. Yeah, he could do that a lot. But for you to depend on that every single week against good teams, that's going to become a problem. And with that being the case, the next 2 games you played against Miami, whose defense is not good, and then offensively were very one-dimensional. And then when you go against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's not even a contest. Next week you go against Baltimore at Baltimore. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to see what they are. And now if they could go there and dominate that game, then I got to revise what I thought of them for the whole season. But if they don't, they could still be on pace for what I thought that they were going to be. The only thing I would say is that instead of 9-8, I'll give them 10-7 because I saw them in Miami splitting. That's the only game so far that's went the way that I didn't think it would, was that they will lose to Miami at Miami. And they won that game. They're not going to lose to Miami at home. That ain't going to happen. So I could still see them going 10-7 for the year. They probably squeeze into the playoffs with that record, but they are a good football team. And Josh Allen right now is definitely league MVP. Moving on now to the next game. We got the Washington Commanders at the Cincinnati Bengals. The final score of this game was 38-33 Washington Commanders. Let's start off with the good first, man. My rookie of the year, guys. My rookie of the year. I told you guys on this platform that Jaden Daniels was the guy. He should have been the number 1 overall draft pick. Now, I will say this. If he was playing for the Chicago Bears, he wouldn't be as good as he's looking for the Commanders because that middle of the offensive line is so bad. But with the Commanders, he has a decent running game. He has I won't say, actually, I take that back. He has a physical running game. That's what helps him out a lot. You have to put 7 guys in the box, 8 guys in the box when you're going against Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. He has a wide receiver, a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver in Terry McLaurin. He has a veteran tight end in Zach Ertz. He has a lot of good things there. A lot of good things. And that's why I had them going 8-9 on the season. Cause I have a lot of faith in what they're building there. And Jaden Daniels is showing you why he should have been that #1 pick. He's very poised. His game translated a lot better to the league than what Caleb Williams did. Jaden Daniels going 21-23, 254, 2 touchdowns, 39 on the ground, and another rushing touchdown. He was elite, bro. He was elite. And now, on the other side, though, there was a quarterback that can match that. Because what's going to hold the Commanders back is their passing defense. And Joe Burrow did attack them boys. Joe Burrow did not lose this game. Joe Burrow was 29-38, 324, and 3 touchdowns, with Jamar Chase hauling in 118 for 2 touchdowns. They burnt them deep. Now, also, it shows you the importance of T. Higgins. T. Higgins now being on the field, it caused a shift in the defense, which allowed Jamar Chase to get one-on-ones to now be the great player that we thought that we know that he could be. So my biggest thing is that Bengals, honestly, you guys need to find a way to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but it's not going to happen because your owner's cheap and he doesn't actually value winning like that. But Bengals defense, y'all got to step up. Y'all got to figure out who the hell y'all going to be. Y'all got to. That's my biggest gripe with this game. Bengals, who are you? Who are you? Now, week 1, I'll let that go, whatever. Y'all played against New England. You only gave us 16 points, I believe, to New England. That loss is more so on the offense. Yes, I see that. I see that. And with the turmoil that you guys had going on, I get it. Week 2, you play against Kansas City at Kansas City. Y'all should have won that football game if a player did not make a bonehead decision and commit a pass interference against Rashee Rice, which eventually allowed the Chiefs to kick a field goal, win the game, so on and so forth. How do you play that well against a Super Bowl contending team, Kansas City Chiefs, and then y'all play against the Washington Commanders and give up 33 points? Trey Hendricks, bro, you will look like the best defensive end in the league against the Chiefs. I mean, I know he's not. I'm just saying that's what you look like in that game. He looked every bit the Aiden Hutchinson, the TJ Watt, and all those guys. But against the Commanders, you can't get to Jaden Daniels? Come on, bro. Come on. Now, this also goes further to prove what the Chiefs have to deal with year in and year out. They are the standard. Every team will play up to them. They are every team's Super Bowl game. Every single team. And that's also why I think that helps the Chiefs out a lot when they get to the playoffs, because they already been in these moments. They've been in these moments all year because that's how every team plays them. That's how every team plays them. But for back to the Bengals, so then the next week you go against Jaden Daniels, you can't stop him. You give up 33 points. There's not one guy on that offense that I necessarily will say is better than the Chiefs guy in that slot. The wide receiver 1, Terry McLaurin, is not necessarily better than Rashee Rice. Their tight end is not better than Zach Ertz is not better than Travis Kelce. Their offensive line is not better than the Chiefs' offensive line. The Chiefs have one main big hole, which is left tackle. That's it. But the rest of that offensive line is, especially the 3 in the middle, Pro Bowlers, possible Hall of Famers with 2 of them. Then you talk about the running backs, they're probably about equal. You talk about the quarterback is obviously better with Patrick Mahomes. And you're telling me that you were able to hold that Chiefs team to 25 points? But you cannot stop the Washington Commanders from scoring 38? Y'all got to fix it. Now, you still got a shot. And your shot is that the Steelers are 3-0. The Ravens are 1-2. The Browns are 1-2. So y'all still have a great shot at finishing in second place in that division, but y'all gotta pull it off. Y'all gotta get your head out your bleeps and start playing some football. Y'all gotta figure out who y'all want to be, or just tank the season, man. Stop playing with my emotions. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. There isn't really a whole lot to go into this game because, honestly, this was just a dominant game by the Minnesota Vikings. For the Houston Texans, This was your first test, and you failed miserably. You failed. And specifically, I'm talking about that offense. You play against the Indianapolis Colts week 1. That game was a lot tighter than what it needed to be. Offense, you did enough. You did enough in that game. I'll let it go. But we all know the Colts defense is not the strongest thing out there. And then last week against the Chicago Bears, you barely put up 19 points, I believe. And you won that game 13-19. And now here you are against an offense that is actually a real NFL offense, and y'all get your ass kicked. You get your ass kicked. And when you go against a real defense, because the Minnesota Vikings, that's the thing that I was not counting on. You guys know, in reference back to the episode, I did have them going 6-11, I believe. But I told you guys, I think this team is a very competitive team. They're just not as good as a lot of teams are going to play against. For example, I had them losing to the Niners, but I thought it would be a tight game. I will have them losing to Detroit, but it'll be a tight game. I have them losing against the Green Bay Packers, but it'll be a tight game. I had them losing against the Houston Texans, but it was going to be a tight game. Now, the thing is, bro, instead of making these games tight, they are winning. And the reason why they are winning is because Brian Flores and that defense are immaculate right now. That's why they're winning these games. Bro, bringing over Stephon Gilmore was the most perfect thing in the world for them. Bro, their defensive stunts with the defensive linemen, good luck blocking them. Their backside, the way that they're doing their zone schemes and things of that nature, they are putting guys in position that the quarterback is very, very confused. Very confused on where to go with the ball. So what we saw take place in this game was C.J. Stroud trying to diagnose where these offenders were going to be. But it's because he's having to think so much, he could not just react. He could not react, and he was behind the 8 ball. And being behind the 8 ball allowed that defensive front to get to him and take him down. And then also talk about the Texans' offensive line. They're not as good as we anticipated. Larry Tunsil, bro, if you get one more penalty, bro, you have to get more penalties than Juwan Taylor last year. And you're supposed to be a Pro Bowler. You're supposed to be arguably the best left tackle in the league. You will make that argument. Now, it's easily to me, Trent Williams, but I've heard him say that he is the best left tackle in the league. You don't look like it, bro. You do not look like it. With all these penalties and the rushes that you're giving up, you got to fix it. Houston Texans, y'all got some soul searching to do. Y'all need to get back to the basics. Y'all took a big leap with this Stephon Diggs thing, and y'all went straight into trying to be a pass-heavy offense. That's not what you guys were last year. You need to go back to what you were, which was a steady offense. You was not focused on scoring 30 a game. You was focused on scoring 24 and let the defense finish it out. Get back to that, and y'all be back on track. Moving over to the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold, man. He's looking really good. He's looking really, really good. The thing that you guys have to realize with Sam Darnold is that he has arm talent. He always has. He can always throw the football. The issue with him was turnovers. That was the issue. And with Kevin O'Connell, he's taking that out of his game. Running the play action scheme, having a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson, that is a big deal for him. And now we can see how good he really could be. He really could be. And honestly, he looks like Brock Purdy. That's what he looks like. Which is great news for him. Brock Purdy's going to get paid. The question that they're going to have to answer at the end of the year is that do we move forward with him or J.J. McCarthy? That's a story for later in the season, obviously. But as of right now, hey, you guys, Minnesota Vikings are the best team in that division right now. I was not anticipating saying that, but they are. They are a complete unit. Aaron Jones could run the football. He helps out in the passing game. He looks really, really good. I want to say he had like a $150 almost in this yard of combined yards and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson looks like the best wide receiver in football again. The offensive line is holding up strong. Like we already dug into the defense. The defense is balling, doing usher dances in the end zone. Bro, this team is a good team. This is a good football team, and they're a problem for whoever matches up against them. Moving on to the next game, bro, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The final score of this game was 10-20 Pittsburgh. This game went exactly as I thought it would. The Chargers offense, I don't really think is good at all. I think that they now have a coach that understands how to press his will upon an opponent. And he's got that into his team's offense. They are going to try to bully you. They just don't have enough on the outside this year. They will finish the year about 6-11. They just don't have enough weapons. That's all it is. I will tell you this, though. They found some stuff. That's what this year is about for them, finding some stuff. They found their offensive line. Their offensive line is solid. I would try to keep that group together. I'm okay with what I'm seeing from them. Obviously, Justin Herbert's going to be your quarterback. They found J.K. Dobbins. He is serving a great role, and I love him in that system. So with that being the case, I like all of that. If they had Keenan Allen still here, for example, I would feel very differently about this team. They do not have the passing options. Now, defensively, they're playing strong. They're playing physical. I love the way that they're playing. Derwin James, though, you got to knock off them penalties. I don't want you to missing games. But defensively, they look solid. I love what I'm seeing from them. They just do not have enough on the offensive side. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, I love what I saw in all this game with Justin Fields. The interception was a tipped interception. I'll let that go. But, man, Justin Fields was 25 of 32. Great efficiency. 245 in the air. 1 touchdown in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Justin Fields. He is building upon being just a game manager to actually being a factor. And they're building it up week to week to week to week to week. He has won this job. I don't give a damn what Mike Tomlin says. He's won this job. He is playing efficient football. He opens up the playbook way more than what Russell Wilson can. And I'm excited to see how this man grows. This is another testament, just like Sam Darnold. If you put me with the right coach, now watch what I do. And that's what took in place. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys are doing great. I love the run pass options that you guys are running with Fields. I love the route concepts that you're running. Arthur Smith, you're doing great here. And as a side note, just a side note that I want to say, Arthur Smith, maybe you don't lose your job if you would have drafted Justin Fields when you was with the Atlanta Falcons, as we all said that you should. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the Detroit Lions at the Arizona Cardinals. The final score of this game was 20-13 with the Detroit Lions taking the dub. Detroit Lions did what they're supposed to do, and that's what happens. Why? Because Jared Goff is not that guy. He's not that guy. He could run this kind of offense, but he tried his best to lose this game. He played awful in this game. These last 2 weeks of Jared Goff has not been good weeks for him. He needs to get this stuff back together. But with the Detroit Lions having David Montgomery go for 23 carries, 122 total yards, and a touchdown, and Jahmyr Gibbs going for 18 carries, 103 total yards, and a touchdown, that's when they're at their best. That's when this offense is elite. That's when Amon-Ra St. Brown's could just keep cranking out first downs and work in the middle of the field. That's when the deep balls will be open. They weren't open today, but they will be open for Jameson Williams. This is what we need to see from the Detroit Lions. Defensively, I love what I'm seeing from Detroit defensively. Aiden Hutchinson is a top 5 defender in the NFL. Hands down, point blank. He's top 5. I didn't necessarily think he could get to that point because I thought his athleticism will limit him at some point. But, man, Aiden Hutchinson, by far one of the most impressive defenders I've seen in the league right now. And then as far as their rushing defense, immaculate. That's like what I said, bringing in guys like DJ Reader, unlike the Cincinnati Bengals just keeping him, letting him walk because you don't want to pay nobody. Bringing guys like him, bringing in Aiden Hutchinson, bringing in linebacker play. Now you can stop the run. Now you got something that you can depend on. Now it's easier to stop the pass, and that's what they did in this game. Now, also on the flip side for the Cardinals, their offense is based off of their running game first. So once you took that out the game, it was going to mess up their entire offensive scheme. This game for the Lions, though, this final score should have been closer to 35-13, not 20-13. The Cardinals shouldn't have had a shot. It's because of Jared Goff why the Cardinals had a shot. Also, Marvin Harrison, you got to get better at making these contested catches, bro. You got to get better at it. You're a rookie. It's year one. You're going to learn. You're going to grow. But you got to get better at it. Also, I don't know why. To me, you guys, he just looks slow. He does look slow a lot. Now, maybe it's that he's not running his hardest on every single play. And if he's not, that's also a problem. But you're also talking to somebody that was more of a Malik Neighbors guy than a Marvin Harrison guy. I thought Marvin was good. I think that he's really, really good. But Malik Neighbors got that electricity that I like out of my number one wide receiver. I just don't know if Marvin has that. Now, last week we saw that. We saw that it's in his game. But also, bro, he's going against Trey White, who's went through hell with his leg injuries, lower extremity injuries. He's had torn Achilles, torn ACLs, all that kind of stuff. So he's not as fast as he once was. But I think they need to take Marvin off of running deep routes and have him more of like a slot guy, a big slot guy. I think that he will be best at that because his route running is incredible. I don't think his straight line speed is the greatest. Now, that's my biggest take on that game. So now moving on to the upset, one of the upsets of the day, maybe the upset of the day. We got the 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. Purdy played a great game. The final score was 24-27 with the Rams winning, but Purdy played fantastic. There was nothing I actually had an issue with Purdy at all. He was 22 of 30, 292, 3 touchdowns, and 41 on the ground. He was great. I thought the run game was okay. This is an issue where we see sometimes two coaches that's been playing against each other for years at this point. Years. These two have been playing against each other. They know each other's schemes. They know each other's tendencies. They know what each other's trying to do. And with that being the case, it makes the game a whole lot harder to try to play against them. It doesn't really matter who the players and personnel is at this point because of the fact that I know what you want to do, Mike. And Mike's like, I know what you want to do, Sean. So he's just going to come down to coaching in this game. And that's what it came down to. But actually, I wouldn't quite go that far because this game was lost by Brandon Ayuk. He lost this game. If you go back and watch this tape, he dropped at least 4 to 5 balls. And like 4 of them 5 balls were third downs. He dropped. If you complete those plays, the drive continues. The time keeps clicking. The Rams don't have the time to do what they did. You got to keep possession. You have to. And for you to be the guy that held out wanting more than $30 million and you settled for $30 million a season, and for you to be the reason why y'all lose, Ayuk, bro, you better than that. You are better than that. You got to get the job done, brother. You got to. This cannot be the case. But Brock Purdy played great. But what we saw on the other side was Matt Stafford showing why he is a top 5 arm talent quarterback in the NFL. Boy, this boy could get these guys the ball. Yeah, you're going to look and be like, well, hey, B, he only threw for 218. That doesn't matter what he threw for. Look at the passes. Look at the time of the pass. Look at the time of the game the pass was made. Look at the clutch situation. Look at all that stuff, bro. This boy has the ball on a rope. Tutu Atwell is their best wide receiver left. They should feature him as that. He should be their Cooper Kupp right now. You can't do that, though, because he's too small. I understand it. But, boy, I love me some Tutu Atwell. I really, really do. Kyrie Williams, great game. I was wrong about you, my brother. Not necessarily you. I never doubted your talent. I just thought that with the injuries that's taking place and the fact that they could just focus on you as a primary option, that they will slow you down. I guess they didn't. And that's the other issue with the 49ers. The 49ers, bro, y'all got to get better defensively. There was a time, bro, when we thought if you played against the 49ers, you wasn't going to score 20 points. You knew that. That's not the 49ers no more. That's not them no more. Nope. The DeMeco Ryans effect has officially taken place. You lost your defensive coordinators. You lost your elite defensive coordinators. And now you're relying on whoever to put these guys in position. And he absolutely is not. He absolutely is not. And it's crazy because there's so much talent on that defense. It should be rather easy. But instead, you're making your job difficult. Very difficult. And with that being the case, bro, that's why we watch this for the 49ers. When you watch them play, there is no defensive stunts with the defensive lines. They don't do a lot of blitzing. They try to rely on a lot of man coverage. And when they do run zone, it's like a very soft zone where they're just depending on Fred Warner to make every play in the middle of the field. It's too much. It is way too much. That's how Kyron Williams got the first touchdown. That's how he got the first one, bro. He broke the linebacker off 59. I think Devondre Campbell broke him off. And now you're expecting my boy Fred Warner to come from Columbus to Springfield to make the stop. Like, come on, bro. That's too much. It's too much. And we're talking about a situation where you could have easily sent the blitz, put Fred Warner on him one-on-one, and now let's get to it. Rush Matt Stafford. You know that he can't move that great. But nah, that makes too much sense. We ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that. Their defensive coordinator is the problem there in 49ers. Good win by the Los Angeles Rams. Way to take a dub at home, I believe, which is a big deal in that division. Your first win came against a division opponent. Great job, Rams. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons. I was there at this game. Hey, you guys, this game was lit, boy. It was up. It was up for show. For sure. Man, we had, it was a ring of honor ceremony for Arthur Blank. He gave away free food, all kind of other free stuff, by the way. Man, we had like a T.I. performance, like a mini concert, I guess you could say. All the stars was there, the Ludacris's, the Little John from Little John, the East Side Boys, the Tiggas from Rap City, the Basement. Like, bro, stars all over the place. When I tell y'all it was up in that building, it was up for sure. We had the boys that sing Swag Surfing. Like, everybody was there, but it wasn't enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The biggest flaw in this game was that the Falcons could not get their running game going efficiently. Bijan Robinson carried the ball 16 times for 31 yards. Now, he did get a touchdown. But our offense that is predicated on that running scheme, because it still is predicated on the running scheme. It's just different than the Arthur Smith system. You need more than that from Bijan in your running game. They settle for way too many outside runs. Once you realize that the Chiefs' defense was fast enough to keep up with that outside run, you got to find a different way. But they didn't want to attack up the middle because then you got to deal with Chris Jones and all them boys in the middle. So they're trying to get away from him. I get it. I do get it. I truly do. But you got to find something in the running game. The first drive, y'all scored a touchdown because the Chiefs anticipated y'all just going to Bijan. So when you guys hit the play action fakes, it got you all the way down to score the touchdown. Now for the Chiefs side, Patrick Mahomes is playing some of the worst football I've seen him play in these last couple weeks. He made some really, really questionable decisions. More importantly, he threw a lot of guys behind. He made a lot of guys stop their routes to catch the football. I would actually say this game was only as close as it was because Patrick Mahomes did not play to his level that he should be playing at. Travis Kelce should have had more balls. There should have been more balls caught by even Rashee Rice, balls that were behind, and things of that nature. I do think the things that we saw from the Chiefs can be fixed. And I also think that the things that we saw from the Falcons can be fixed. But the biggest thing I want to focus in on this game is the defensive pass interference call. Those of you that saw on Facebook, I made my post pretty much explaining why that call is nowhere near as important as people try to make it out to be. Let's give them the call, okay? Let's say the defensive pass interference is called. You get the ball to 1 yard line. We saw y'all need 1 yard to get a first down with 2 plays and you couldn't get it. Who's to say that you even get points there? Who's to say that? We don't know. The Chiefs are a top 5 defense in the league. We don't know what happens even once you get there. So now let's say you do score a touchdown. Okay, the score is now 23-22 with 6 minutes left. Let's say that you go for 2. Let's say that you get to 2. The score is now 25-22 with 6 minutes left. Patrick Mahomes has hell of time to still tie the game or win the game. It's not anything locked in stone that the game is completely flipped. It's nowhere close to flipped. Nowhere close. I would say the Chiefs still have the advantage because now they get 6 minutes to get the ball down the field, kill the clock, score a touchdown with maybe a minute left, go up by 3. Go up by 4, and now you have to score a touchdown to win. I actually would give that advantage to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just me. But even if you do stop the Chiefs, now you stop the Chiefs, you get in the ball with probably about 4 minutes left, and the Chiefs still got all 3 timeouts and 2-minute warning. Guess what? They're getting the ball again. They're going to get the ball again. Okay, now let's operate in real world. The call did not get called. It should have got called. That was interference. I said it to my wife while we were standing there. That was pass interference. Now, the play was very bang. And because of that, the ref missed it. It should have been called. Absolutely. But it wasn't. Now, the defense makes a stop. which now allows the Falcons to get the ball back. Now let's talk about that last drive for the Falcons. They got the ball on the 35-yard line. They got to the Kansas City Chiefs' 13-yard line, which means that they traveled 52 yards. They needed to travel 65 yards in order to win the game. In order to have an opportunity to win the game. They traveled 52 yards. Do you guys realize that the Chiefs were called for 3 penalties on that drive? For 31 yards. So all in all, the Atlanta Falcons only gained 21 yards. All I'm going to say is this. If we want to say the whole thing is about the referees leaning on the Chiefs, why would they make that drastic of calls on the final drive for the Atlanta Falcons? Now let's talk about the final play. You check to an outside zone that hasn't worked all damn day. That's on you. That's on you. That's on you as a coaching staff. That's on you as an offense. That's on Kirk Cousins as a quarterback. That's on you. If you're going to run the ball, you run it in the middle. You don't run to the outside where a block could potentially be missed, just like it was when Nick Bolton could get skinny, get through the hole, and stop Bijan. Bijan ain't breaking Nick Bolton's tackle. You know why? Because nobody really is. That's not about Bijan there. That's just common sense. But I get it. I do get it. The Chiefs are the new Patriots. I get it. I do. There's going to be a lot of people that hate on him. There's going to be a lot of people that just wants to see him lose because Patrick Mahomes is stopping your favorite player from making it there. I get it. I do. I just hate the false narratives. Because, see, listen, I'm also a guy that always said this, man. When the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, when the linebacker pushed Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, I always said that should not be called. That should not have been called. Now, also for the Bengals guy, you cannot put yourself in that position. It is your fault. You cannot do that. You put the game in the ref's hands and the ref made the call. So I'm just telling you guys, I am very objective on this. Very objective. Just in that moment, you had a chance to win the game and you still blew it. I don't want to hear it. Those calls are missed all the time for both sides. Do you guys want to know how many times I saw them holding Chris Jones? Chris Jones gets held every single play. I'm not expecting them to call it every play. Like I said, that call should have been called. But it does. 9 out of 10, it doesn't change the outcome of the game. What would have changed the outcome of the game is if you run a better play on 4th and 1. Your offense is still learning your money down. Now for the Falcons, this is a plus game for you guys still. You guys finished 1-2 in this tough 3-game stretch I have for you guys. Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs. You guys are hitting the light part of your schedule. I think you guys are about to run off a lot of wins. I think this is where you guys mess around and win this division. But we got to let that go, guys. We got to let that go. The penalty wasn't called. Move forward, man. The Kansas City Chiefs played a great game. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. The final score of this game was 15-12. We didn't really see nothing happen until the fourth quarter. But let me tell you guys something that did happen. We found out who the best player on that field was. It wasn't Jalen Hurts. It wasn't Derek Carr. It wasn't Alvin Kamara. It was Jalen Carter, number 98 for the Philadelphia Eagles. That man is dominant. He's a top 10 defensive player in the NFL, hands down. This guy could be the next Aaron Donald level, I won't say talent, but effect for this era. He is a beast. Oh, he's a beast. And he blew up that Saints offensive scheme by himself. That offensive outside zone run did not work. He was not going forward. Not at all. Jalen Carter was dominant. He held that game down for the Eagles because Jalen Hurts, like I said before, he has regressed. He has regressed. He threw a terrible interception. Granted, it wasn't as much on Jalen Hurts. It was more so on Devontae Smith. He should have cut under Tyrann Mathieu instead of fading behind Tyrann Mathieu. Because when you play against a guy like Tyrann Mathieu, he is a ball hawk. He will attack that ball. That's what he's going to do. So you got to cut underneath him to not give him that opportunity. But for Jalen Hurts, I don't think that was the smartest pass to make. I want to say that was on first down. You just got in the red zone. You could have just said that one's too risky because you are Jalen. You got legs. Go ahead and run. Get a few yards, slide, get down, and move on with the play calling. But instead, you took the risk. You threw an interception. Later on in the next quarter, you fumbled the ball. Moving on now to the third quarter, y'all get a punt block. Like, god damn! Can y'all do something? But this also shows how dominant this defense and how dominant this team could be. For them to go against the hottest team in the NFL offensively, hold them to only 12 points the entire game, 1 touchdown, that's a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment. That's how good this team is. And then Saquon Barkley, when you finally decide, hey, man, let's start going I formation. Let's start going pistol formation to get him the ball, to get them tires rolling, to get the offensive line rolling. Next thing you know, now we can give it to him on the inside zone, on the shot out of the shotgun, and 65-yard tutty. That's what you can do. That's what you can be. But y'all's team has to rely on Saquon first. Saquon first. Then you get to the passing game. See, that's what it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they made it to the Super Bowl, they relied on Miles Sanders in that running game first. And then they got to the passing game. They were the most dominant run game in the league. That's what it was, and that's what opened up the space for them to attack through the air. Now, A.J. Brown being gone is a big miss. It's a big miss. We realize what he truly is to that offense. We always knew. But you can still be an elite offense without A.J. Brown. Why? Because you have a top 5 offensive line in the league. Why? Because you do have a top 10 quarterback in the league. Why? Because you do got a top 5 running back in the league. Why? Because you do got a top 5 tight end in the league. You have a top 5 defensive line in the league. Darius Slay, when he wants to show up and do what he does, he was shut down on that right side, or left side for him, of that defense. He was locked down in this game. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, none of them did anything to him on that side of the ball. So, man, this team has the talent and the pieces. This team is about Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. That's what it's about. This is about Nick Sirianni. Maybe we shouldn't go for it on every damn 4th and 1. Maybe we should kick some field goals to get some damn points. This is about Jalen Hurts, bro. We don't have to throw a touchdown every single play. We could just take our time down the field sometimes. And when we run the read option, you don't have to take it out my belly every time. Give it to me. I'm Saquon Barkley. I ain't DeAndre Swift. I ain't Kenneth Gainwell. I'm Saquon. Give me the damn ball. That's what this offense boils down to. For the New Orleans Saints, we saw you guys go against an elite defensive front. I think you guys got shell-shocked in this game. I think you guys are better than what you guys showed in this game. I really do. The issue was y'all played against a trash Carolina Panther team, and you played against a weak Dallas Cowboy team. And then when you came into this game with a team, more so Jalen Carter, that's willing to punch you in the mouth, you guys weren't quite ready for that. You weren't quite ready. And with that being the case, that's why you lost. But I do think the Saints still have a good roster, a good team. This division is going to come down to the Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to find out what that does. Moving on now to our final game. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. This final score, this was the game of the week, was 28-25. Bro, we saw D. Hen do his thing in that second half. Bro, he went for 25 carries, 151, and 2 touchdowns. This is what I was saying with D. Hen and Baltimore Ravens. Y'all just got to feed him. It wasn't pretty in the first half. It wasn't even pretty in the second half. But that third quarter, when he started rolling, and he started getting that train going, and he starts looking fast, he gets stronger as the game goes, there was nothing at all the Dallas Cowboys could do to stop him. There's nothing at all. I still think the Dallas Cowboys are tripping not putting Micah Parsons at middle linebacker against running football teams. He's not going to be effective. Lamar Jackson he only attempted 15 passes in this game. That's it. So you're telling me that there's only 15 plays of this entire game that Micah Parsons could really try to be effective, and you're okay with that? He's your best defender. Scratch that. He's your best player on your whole damn team. I want him involved as much as he can be involved. Put him at middle linebacker. Let him go head up with Derrick Henry, and let's get that smoke. But now we're going to hide him because we just want the pass rusher. Good luck catching Lamar anyway when you get there. Because, hey, guess what? I did see you get to Lamar one time on a read option, and Lamar broke your tackle. He did. So it's not even guaranteed that if you get to Lamar that you're going to get him down. That's Lamar Jackson. That's Action Jackson back there. But you know where he would have been better served for this game? Middle linebacker. Now, see, against the Giants, you ain't got to do that. Put him at DN against the Giants. Let him go roughshod on Daniel Jones. Let that happen. Because Dak Prescott on the offense is going to get the lead. There it is. When you have a lead, that's when Micah Parsons needs to be rushing the edge. If you do not have a lead, he needs to be at middle linebacker so he can be effective and he can actually try to stop the opposing offense. Lamar Jackson had a great game. 12 of 15, 182, one touchdown in the air, 14 carries for 87 yards and another touchdown. Great game. Great game by Lamar. Now, what I do want to talk about is Dak Prescott in that offense in the fourth quarter. Dak Prescott went for over 300 yards in this game. He completed 28 of 51 of his passes, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 on the ground. He should have threw 2 picks. He got lucky. And for me, I was a recipient of that because I am a Dak Prescott owner in fantasy football. So, hey, it worked out for me. I ended up winning my game close this week. Now, if he would have threw 2 of them picks, I might have lost. It would have got sketchy. But he didn't. But anyways, the biggest thing I would say for you, the Cowboys, to take away with this offense, your run game is terrible. It's garbage. You should have signed Derrick Henry. I don't care about all the Jerry Jones excuses. I'm going to let ESPN and all that talk about that. We all know what they should have did. We all know. The biggest thing I want to talk about is the fact that you saw that you don't have to only go to CeeDee Lamb. Turbin is a solid player. I like him as your number 2 option. You need to start featuring him more. Jake Ferguson being back, that opens up a lot more in that seam in the middle of the field against the defense. I love what I'm seeing from Jake Ferguson. Brandon Cooks is still a good receiver to have on the field. Focus this game around all of them, not just CD. Because once you focus on all of them, it's going to open it up for CD. That's what's going to happen. And teams I could think about that with is, let's look at the Los Angeles Rams a couple years ago with Cooper Kupp. He won the Triple Crown. Robert Woods was there for the first half of the year. He was doing his thing. Then he gets hurt. Then Odell Beckham slides in. Odell Beckham was actually still a very solid contributor to that team. I had him on my fantasy team that year, bro. Yeah, he only caught 3-4 balls, but he was catching a touchdown like every week. And I'm not exaggerating. So with that being the case, he was an option. He was a focal point for them. You couldn't just triple team Cooper Kupp. And that's literally what they're doing against CeeDee Lamb. We're just going to double and triple team him all game. You're not looking nowhere else. So I think they found something. I think they need to focus more going trips. Run your offense out of the shotgun, because that will open up space, give Dak Prescott more time to go through his progressions. I will have Zeke as my starting running back, more so for pass protection purposes, because none of your running backs can run. None of them can run the ball effectively. So how are we going to build up this passing game to be the best passing game that we can have? This is how you guys could do it. And that's how you need to go about it. That's what I would do if I was Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are on pace to finish how I thought they would, 9-8. 9-8, maybe make the playoffs. They are the second best team in this division still. I'm not going to overhype the Commanders just yet. I'm not going to do that. And the Giants, please. The best team in this division is and are the Philadelphia Eagles. But Cowboys, you can still have an elite offense. You just got to go through the right guys, and you have to realize that you have to be more than just number 88. Team 88 can't do everything for your offense. You got to utilize the other guys to open him up during the game, and that's exactly what happened in that fourth quarter. Now you found something. I expect you guys Thursday night to go off on the New York Giants. I'm expecting the Dallas. I don't know what the spread is. I really don't care. I think the Dallas Cowboys cover whatever the spread is. Hell, bro, that spread could be 10. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys. I got Dak Prescott going for at least 250, 260, at least 3 passing touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb is going to go crazy in this football game as well. I think the Dallas Cowboys dominate Thursday Night Football against the New York Giants, and I got the Giants losing that game, obviously. I think Daniel Jones will throw a couple interceptions in this game as he gets rattled. As the score climbs, the more you have to throw. I anticipate them doing a lot of double teaming on Malik Neighbors to slow him down, because if you take out Malik Neighbors, there's nothing more in that offense. But Brian Daboll is a great offensive coach. He will find a way to get Malik the ball. Dallas, you got to be ready to get to him, because that boy, he can break tackles. He is very explosive. All he needs is a shoot. He could take a screen pass to the crib. That's all he needs, just an opportunity. Make sure that you put Trevon Diggs on him. Diggs, you wanted that money. You got that money. Show me why you earned that money. It's that time. It's that time. Hey, y'all. That's the end of our episode. This is Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, you guys, please, please, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Please continue following me on my social media pages. I got my Facebook up for Knowing True Ball. I got Twitter up for Knowing True Ball as well. I need to get into the TikTok action a lot more. I know you guys, I understand. I apologize. I'm a dad and a husband, work full-time job, all those kind of things, just trying to take care of my family. And man, when I get into the games, I lose track of that. So I apologize for that. But please follow me on those things. As I make comments, please comment back, man. I love chit-chatting with you guys. So yeah, hit me up. This is Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Peace.